Hello, in this video we are going to discuss about excretion as a life process. You know that life processes are all the different activities, all the different processes which are occurring inside living organisms' body and are essential for survival of living organism. We humans have different processes occurring inside our system. We have nutrition, taking in of food, we have respiration, we have circulation and excretion. With these different four major life processes, we are able to survive, and there is proper coordinated functioning of our system. That's why we are surviving. So how to explain excretion? Excretion is a process of removing of waste products from our body, from living organisms' body. If we explain in terms of all the living organisms. So excretion is the process wherein we are removing excess substances in our body or harmful substances or waste products out of our body. This topic is part of chapter number 5, that is life processes. First, let me ask you a few questions. This will be a pre-test, so you need to answer in your mind, okay? First question is, how do waste get accumulated in human? Mainly because of taking in food or taking in edible substances. Along with that, there are different biochemical reactions happening in our body, and because of these different biochemical reactions, there may be production of waste or harmful substances, and these becomes waste. Or because of pathogenic infection, due to action of pathogens in our system, they may release toxic substances. So these are few situations how waste is collected inside human body. Now, how do waste in our body are removed continuously for proper functioning, for healthy functioning of our system or tissue? Mainly by transportation of body fluids from different parts of the body to excretory organs. First, there is transportation of body fluids having waste products throughout our system, and at last waste products are brought to the excretory organs, and from excretory organ there is removal of those waste. Would you mention some waste found in human? You know that, right? So we have ammonia, urea, uric acid, carbon dioxide, water. Even water, if it is in excess, then these become waste. And we have ions like sodium, potassium, chloride, phosphate, and sulfate. So all these are, if present in excess, then they become waste. And there's some waste found in plants. In plants, they are having resin, peel of bark, fruits. Fruits are also a way of shedding waste. If fruits are falling, then it is part of removing waste. So we have leaves, gums, old leaves, gums, carbon dioxide if it is in excess, even oxygen and water vapors, if these are in excess, these are waste. So these are a few pre-tests to make you warm up for the next slides. Now, excretion in plants. How excretion occurs in plants? Plants are having different ways to remove harmful products from their body. It is very different from the animals. So excess amount of oxygen and carbon dioxide usually goes out through stomata by process of diffusion. So through stomata there is removal of oxygen and carbon dioxide. Excess oxygen and carbon dioxide are removed through stomata by process of diffusion. Likewise, water vapors are removed. If it is in excess, then these are removed by process of transpiration. Waste products are usually stored in different parts of the body of the plant, and if it is stored in the leaves, at last leaves will fall down, carrying the waste products. So leaves fall down after collection of waste inside the leaves. Even the old and dead part of the plants are removed, or these shed out. These are shedding down, falling down. So detachment of old and dead parts of the plant is also a way of excreting waste or harmful substances in plants. Usually waste are also secreted in plants in the form of resins and gums. As you can see here, this is a picture showing resin. So in the form of liquid, in the form of some secretion, waste are also removed by plants. Plants also remove some of the waste into the soil through root system. So these are the different ways how plants are removing or taking out waste substances from their body. Now let's look at how waste are secreted out of our body. If I ask you a question, how waste in our body are removed, then you will surely come up with this image. This is a diagrammatic representation of human excretory system. So in human, most of the waste which are present inside the blood, or which are brought from different parts of the body by blood, will be excreted out of the kidney, out of the excretory system. So first let us understand the anatomy, different parts present in human excretory system. We have right kidney and left kidney. We are considering the left and right part of the kidney here on the basis of the patient, on the basis of your friends, not your right and left. We are considering friends left and right. So we have right kidney and left kidney. Above the two kidneys we have adrenal gland. Usually blood is supplied to the kidney, oxygenated blood is supplied to the kidney by aorta. So aorta branches to form renal artery. So arteries which are entering into the kidney carrying oxygenated blood are known as renal arteries. So over here I've represented single renal artery. Renal vein usually remove out in the sense these are usually carrying blood from the kidney to heart. So renal veins are carrying deoxygenated blood from the kidney to the heart. So mainly deoxygenated blood from the kidneys are collected and are sent to inferior vena cava, and inferior vena cava pass it to heart, to the right part of the heart. Kidneys are also connected with two tiny tubes which are known as ureter, and ureter is passing urine out of kidney to the urinary bladder. Urinary bladder is a chamber or a room or an organ in which urine is stored temporarily. Urinary bladder is removing out or taking out urine out of urethra. So urethra is the part of human excretory system, or it is attached to the urinary bladder and it is removing out urine. And removing out urine out of human body is called as micturition. M-I-C-T-U-R-I-T-I-O-N. Micturition is process of removal of urine out of human excretory system. So with this we have understood overview or different parts of organs present within the human excretory system. Now let's see another image showing the same human excretory system. Over here there is few parts shown. This kidney is cut, or this kidney is showing the longitudinal section, the vertical section of kidney, and in it we are able to observe the outermost part or region of the kidney called renal cortex or cortex. Inside the renal cortex we have medulla, and in the innermost we have pelvis. Pelvis is a tiny chamber or room to which urine are passed from the millions of nephrons, and from pelvis it is passed to a pair of ureter, and then to the urinary bladder and to the urethra, which is responsible for removing out or micturition. It is responsible for micturition process. So in each kidney we have millions of nephron, and nephrons are the smallest structural and functional unit of kidney. So in human excretory system, if we summarize, then human excretory system, we have a pair of kidneys, right and left kidney, and a pair of ureter, right and left ureters, and then we have a urinary bladder, and then we have the urethra. Now let's see this diagrammatic representation of nephron. We have said that nephron is the structural and functional unit of kidney. So nephron is responsible for functioning of kidney. So what are the different parts which are present in nephron? Let's see. So usually blood is supplied to the nephron by afferent arterioles. Afferent arterioles branches to form group of capillaries inside a cup-like structure, and this tuft of blood capillaries is known as glomerulus. So glomerulus is tuft. Tuft here refers to group of or bunch of. So group of blood capillaries which are formed by branching of afferent arteriole is known as glomerulus, and glomerulus is present within a cup-like structure. And the blood capillaries, the blood vessel which is coming out from the cup-like structure, which is having less or no nitrogenous waste, less waste, is taken out by efferent arteriole. Efferent arteriole is found branching around the renal tubules. Renal tubules. Renal here refers to kidney. So renal tubules are the tubes which are forming nephron. So afferent arteriole is branching around, or it is surrounding, it is enclosing the renal tubules. The cup-like structure is known as Bowman's capsule. The scientist who discovered the cup-like structure is Bowman. So Bowman's capsule is the cup-like structure in which we are able to observe glomerulus. And then from the Bowman's capsule, there is it is connected to a highly twisted or highly coiled tube, which is known as proximal convoluted tubule. Proximal convoluted tubule is written in acronym PCT. So proximal convoluted tubule, proximal term here refers to the origin or near to the site of origin of the tubule. So it usually starts, the renal tubule start originating from Bowman's capsule, and that's why it is the beginning part or starting part of the renal tubule. Hence we are calling it as proximal, the starting or emerging part. And it is highly convoluted. Over here it's not shown that much twisted, so it is highly coiled. If it is present in a system. This is just for you to study, for ease of studying, for making us learning easier than it is shown, not coiled. But in our body, it is usually present, highly convoluted, highly twisted, highly coiled. Proximal convoluted tubule is then connected to the descending lane of loop of Henle. So there is a descending lane of loop. Loop of Henle is the part of renal tubule which is mainly responsible for reabsorption of the required substances out of renal tubule. So we have descending limb of loop of Henle, and we do have an ascending limb. A limb which is going upward is ascending loop of Henle, and these two loop of Henle forms Henle's loop. Henle is the scientist who first found this structure, discovered this structure. So loop of Henle is the renal tubule which is formed by descending loop of Henle and ascending loop of Henle. Loop of Henle is having thin, slender or thin tube, which is the main site for reabsorption of useful substances. Mainly water is reabsorbed. Then the distal convoluted part, or DCT in short, is found connected with the loop of Henle, and it is connected with the collecting duct. So collecting duct is collecting urine. So these are the different parts which are present in human nephron, and we said that human nephron is basic structural and functional unit of kidney. So kidney is having its unit, tiny units called nephron, and which is the main part helping in excretion. Now kidney is having two regions, right? Renal cortex and renal medulla. So renal cortex, in the renal cortex we have these portion. The portion which is above this dotted line is usually present within the renal cortex, and the inner part is present within the medulla. Now suppose this dot, this spherical structure surrounded by outlined by grayish color, and inside of it we have a reddish structure, right? So suppose if this is the human blood which is having waste collected in it, is passed into the Bowman's capsule. So it is entering inside the Bowman's capsule, and then the filtration starts. Filtered part are passed through the renal tubule, and the blood which is not having the waste will be sent through the efferent arteriole, and efferent arteriole is having its branching around the renal tubule, and hence efferent arterioles which are branching into tiny blood capillaries which are running parallel to the renal tubule is known as vasa recta, and these will be collecting the useful substances. Now the filtrate which is coming out from the blood capillaries within the glomerulus will be passing through the Bowman's capsule, and it will be sent through the renal tubules. See, it is passing through the renal tubule, and as it goes, there is reabsorption of water, and harmful waste are secreted out through the collecting duct. And this is how urine is formed and waste products are removed. And collecting duct joins pelvis, from where it is joining ureter. So our Bowman's capsule acts like sieve. We use sieve in our kitchen for filtering tea. So sieve usually filters the tea and tea leaves or tea particles. The dirt will be kept inside the sieve. right? So only the filtrate or the T passes through. Similarly, Bowman's capsule function like that. So Bowman's capsule is made up of single layer of cells, and it usually filters the blood, and the filtrate is passed through the renal tubule, and the blood which is having less or no waste will be passed through afferent arteriole, which is branching around the renal tubules, and the filtrate passes through the renal tubule, and there is reabsorption occurring. Reabsorption is mainly done by Henle's loop, and then there is formation of urine. So if we discuss about the formation of urine, urine is formed mainly by three-step process. First, ultrafiltration of blood, second, reabsorption, and then secretion. So in ultrafiltration of blood, Bowman capsule is acting like a sieve, and it is only allowing tiny substances to pass through. Proteins are not allowed to pass through. So tiny harmful waste like urea, ammonia, and other harmful substances are passed as filtrate through the Bowman's capsule, and it is sent to renal tubules. Reabsorption is mainly done by loop of Henle. And finally, secretion of urine is occurring, and it is done after collecting it, the urine by collecting dirt and sending it to the pelvis. So three main steps of formation of urine are ultrafiltration of blood, reabsorption by loop of Henle, and secretion. So you can see the animation again. Blood with dirt or harmful waste. So blood is passing through the afferent arteriole, and the filtration is taking place, and less waste or the filtrate is passing through the renal tubule, and reabsorption occurred, and then finally formation of urine, and it is collected by collecting dirt and finally send it to pelvis. And the blood which is having less waste are passed through the efferent arteriole and are passed through the around the blood vessels, which are blood capillaries, which are surrounding the renal tubules, and finally it is sent back to the renal vein, and it will be removed out. It is passed to the inferior vena cava. Afferent arteriole is branching part of renal artery, which is the branching part of aorta, right? Now, what are the major functions of human nephron or kidney? Nephron is the structural and functional unit of kidney, and kidney is the excretory, two main bean-shaped excretory organs. So excretion of nitrogenous waste such as urea and uric acid is done mainly by kidney or nephron. Reabsorption of water, excess water, if water is required, then it will be reabsorbed by loop of Henle, and electrolytes like bicarbonate, sodium, ammonia, hydrogen ion, and even potassium are reabsorbed by loop of Henle or by the nephron or kidney. Maintenance of pH and ionic balance of the body is also done by nephron or kidney. Maintenance of pH is maintained in a body properly by kidney also. So ionic balance, balance of cation and anion is also done by kidney. Maintenance of salt and water balance in our body, that is osmoregulation. Amount of salt and water balance is also maintained by kidney. So these four functions of the kidney or nephron are important, and these have to be remembered. Usually asked in CBSE board exam. Now let's try to look at some disorders. Let's remember some disorders related to kidney. We have uremia, which is accumulation of urea in blood, mainly due to improper functioning or malfunctioning of kidney. We have kidney failure or It is also known as renal failure. We have renal calculi, which is kidney stone or insoluble substances get crystallized, becomes solid substances inside the kidney, inside the nephrons also. For example, we have oxalates, which are compounds which are forming crystals, and in a way later these form kidneys. These will cause kidney stone or renal calculi. So these are the diseases which are related to human kidney. So sometimes due to some situation, some people suffer from kidney failure, or their kidney will not be functioning properly. For them, they need to visit hospitals, and they waste will be removed out from the body by process of hemodialysis. Hemodialysis is done inside a machine called hemodialysis machine. So hemodialysis is a process which is happening inside hemodialysis machine, and hemodialysis machine and this process, hemodialysis, is a treatment for patients who are suffering from renal failure or having some kidney problem. Hemodialysis is also known as dialysis. So dialysis is process of removing of nitrogenous waste in blood, and it is done through with the help of artificial kidney. In artificial kidney, we are this is the entire setup of artificial kidney, and in artificial kidney we are able to see a chamber, right, a box. This is the machine. All these parts are inside a machine. So this is a box part of the machine, a chamber part, main chamber of the machine, and inside the chamber we are able to see tiny tubes, and these tubes are made up of cellophane, and these tubes are having tiny pores, tiny holes through which there is selective passage of waste. So cellophane tubes are highly coiled, and these are selective, semi-permeable or selectively permeable to nitrogenous waste. And these tubes are present within the chamber, and inside the chamber and in between the cellophane tubes we are able to find a yellowish fluid, right? This yellowish region represents the fluid, and that fluid is dialysing fluid. Dialysing fluid is passed into the machine from another chamber or from another inlet. So over here I've represented a container in having dialysing fluid. Dialysing fluid is the blood plasma. Blood plasma is the liquid part of the blood, and it is not having any nitrogenous waste. So dialysing fluid is passed into the chamber of the hemodialysis machine, and it is sent right inside, and later on the used dialysing solution will be collected in another container. Now suppose if a patient is using this machine, so from the patient's body blood is taken out from artery, and it is passed through the machine, hemodialysis machine. There is a pump given. Pump will be helping in pushing, in creating a pressure which allows the blood to move into the chamber. As the blood passes through the cellophane tubes, waste which are collected, waste which are present within the blood, which is passing through these cellophane tubes, will be going out into the room, going out in around the cellophane tube into that dialysing fluid which is injected inside. So waste here I've represented with tiny yellowish dot. So waste will be moving out from the tubes, as the blood passes through these cellophane tubes. Now the waste, nitrogenous waste, are present inside the outside the cellophane tube and inside the chamber with dialysing fluid. So this process of diffusion of waste out of blood which is passing through the cellophane tube into the chamber is diffusion. So only the nitrogenous waste are collected. Earlier there was injection of blood plasma, the dialysing fluid, without nitrogenous waste. Now due to absence of nitrogenous waste, more waste are present within the blood which is passing through the cellophane tube, and from the blood there is moving out of nitrogenous waste. Now nitrogenous waste are within the chamber, and it will these nitrogenous waste will be removed out from this chamber through the into the dialysing solution. So used dialysing fluid is having blood plasma with nitrogenous waste. So the main principle is diffusion of nitrogenous waste out of the cellophane tube. Inside the cellophane tube there is passing of blood from the patient's artery. As the blood passes, cellophane tube being selectively permeable, it is allowing diffusion of the nitrogenous waste out of the tube into the chamber, and finally it is collected inside the inside another container, and dialysing solution is now having nitrogenous waste, and the blood which is not having nitrogenous waste is injected or sent into the patient's body, which is not the blood which is passed into the patient's body is now not having nitrogenous waste. So this is how hemodialysis or dialysis occurring inside hemodialysis machine. So dialysis or hemodialysis is process of removing of nitrogenous waste in blood through artificial kidney or hemodialysis machine. So this entire slide summarizes what I have explained. So you can pause the video and read all these points. Now I'll move further. This is the machine which is used, which is known as artificial kidney. So hemodialysis machine is like this. It differs from country to country. So this is just a picture representation. So dialyzer having dialysing solution, we have patient blood which is injected into, and blood from the patient and dialysate concentrate which is dialysing solution, having dialysing solution. So dialyzer is the machine which is helping in dialysis. So blood perm is also given. Even heparin is mainly used to declot, for stopping the clotting of blood. And we have water supply, and bicarbonate is also used for maintaining the proper characteristic proper unique feature of blood. Now what else, what other organs which are helping in excretion of waste in addition to the human excretory system? We have lungs which are helping in removal of carbon dioxide and even excess water. Livers also remove different biochemical substances like bilirubin, biliverdin, cholesterol, and even degraded hormones, vitamins, even drugs or chemicals which are present within our body are removed by liver. So liver is detoxification center which is helping in detoxifying our body in addition to kidney. We also have skin. Skin is having sweat gland and oil gland. Oil gland is also known as sebaceous gland. So sweat gland removes sodium chloride and even some amounts of urea and lactic acid. Our oil gland or sebaceous gland helps in removal of sterols, hydrocarbons and waxes which are present inside our body. Now with this you need to answer these questions. Kindly pause the video and try to answer these questions. Without reading these questions, I would like to stop here. Thank you.